Kutztown Live. KUR's campus and community interest radio magazine. You can always be a part of Kutztown Live by giving us a call at 610-683-4859. And now, this is Kutztown Live.
You're listening to the radio voice of Kutztown University, KUR Kutztown. Welcome back to Kutztown Live, a show about Kutztown University and the most agreeable town of Kutztown, Pennsylvania. I'm your host, DJ Aaron B., joined by my co-host,
Joshua Kaplan.
What do you got, Josh?
Today, we're going to be talking to Peter Isaacson, the orchestra director. Welcome, Peter.
Glad to be here.
So, like I said, you're the orchestra director. What does that position actually entail?
Well, it entails a lot, but I won't bore you with all the gory details. The most interesting parts of that really have to do with planning and programming the concerts, and then just basically conducting them and working with the students and presenting them throughout the year. We typically do 4 concerts on campus and then some outreach throughout the year. And then the holiday concert, which happens annually following the presidential reception, and that includes a lot of the large ensembles in the music department.
Okay. So I know you have a show upcoming. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, it's really interesting because the genesis for this first concert that we're having on Tuesday, October 8th in Schaefer, at 7:30 p.m. Really came out of an incredible project that came our way that's happening on this Monday night in New York City. A small contingent group from the KU Orchestra and the KU Chamber Players is playing a performance at Carnegie Weill Hall featuring the music of Dinos Konstantinides, and also 2 of our KU faculty are being featured as soloists. And it's really a fantastic opportunity that came through last spring, and as a result of that, we're repeating some of the same music on Tuesday, October 8th, along with some additional pieces to round out the performance.
Okay. And in regards to getting tickets for that performance?
The tickets for Carnegie Hall, I believe you'll get those directly from the Weill Hall phone line. If you call Carnegie, you can purchase them. They are varying price degrees, and I think the most inexpensive are $25.
All right. So, Aaron, do you have anything?
Now, for the concerts that you have here at Kutztown, do you have to, as a student, do you have to pay to get into those, or as a person who lives in town?
Not at all. These concerts are, because we get sponsorship from KUSSI and the university as a whole for our department, all of our concerts are free. And so that's kind of a wonderful thing, I think, for students and the parents of of students who send their students here to see their students, their children playing and performing in the music program. And where else can you go to get a free concert these days? I think it's a service we do for the university, and it's also very educational, necessary for our students and our music majors as well. This concert is, I think, particularly challenging because it has a lot of contemporary music on it. We have, in addition to the Konstantinides music that we're doing, we'll also be performing a piece by Jefferson Todd Frazier called Youth Remembered, and he is an American composer who is up and coming, and it features a lot of mixed meter, where the tempo changes suddenly, and so it's challenging the orchestra in that way. It's not just counting 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's much more complicated than that. So that's been fun to work on. And then the other piece that's going alongside that is another American composer who has really, through the eyes of history, I think, grown in assessment. His name is Charles Griffiths, and he died at a very young age. He was only 35, and he had just started to really take fire in his career. He wrote several pieces that are in the repertoire that people play regularly. One is the White Peacock, the other is the Poem for solo flute and orchestra, and then the Bacchanal is the piece we're doing, the Pleasure Dome of Kubla Khan. Sorry, I misspoke. The Pleasure Dome of Kubla Khan is the piece we're doing, which is like a Bacchanal. It's all three of those pieces had their sort of inceptions as piano pieces because he was a pianist. He's a very good pianist. And so he composed from the piano and then orchestrated them. But I think what most people don't realize is what a brilliant orchestrator he is and how he puts all the parts together in such a coloristic, exciting way. The piece we're doing, the Pleasure Dome, is also based on a poem by Coleridge Taylor, which, to tell you the truth, I've gone to read it and I can't make any sense of it because it's based on kind of on opium. He wrote it after he had an opium overdose, basically, and he was writing it down with fervor really quickly when he woke up, and then there was a knock at the door. And it was interrupted, and he couldn't remember the rest of it, as the story goes.
Oh, wow.
But it's a very bizarre poem, but anyway, that's what it's based on.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Now, you spoke earlier about how, as orchestra director, you decide what pieces the orchestra plays, and you just spoke at length about the pieces that you're playing. So clearly, you have like a great knowledge and interest in what you pick. So I'm actually really interested to know, like, if you could talk a little bit about your process of selecting what pieces you guys play.
Yeah, that's a hard one because I think as director, you have to choose repertoire that will suit the ensemble, and we have a varying membership. We have music majors, side by side non-majors, and so in some cases we have also different ability levels. So you want to make sure you choose repertoire that is challenging but not overly so. The other thing that I have to take into consideration is rehearsal time, because our rehearsal time is limited in the schedule. And then on top of that, I think it's important to present varied concerts with different composers and different styles on them, because the audience needs to be challenged and given something in return. So it's really balancing all of those many things together. And so to answer your question honestly, I find it challenging every year to do that, because also the membership of the orchestra changes. We have students that graduate, that we've trained, that are doing really wonderfully and go out and into the world of music, teaching, playing, and what have you. And then we have a bunch of younger students that have to come in and next man up, if you will, fill in the void of all that expertise. And so that's another thing that enters into it. But what my process for that in a more distilled way is to try to present music from different eras, different genres, and styles on the same program in a way that works. This first concert is more contemporary, so I kind of stood with that theme, and I wanted to present some American composers along with it. Our next concert in December is kind of veering off towards the Russians. So we're doing a piece by Rachmaninoff that was originally written for piano as well, 5 tableaux, but it was orchestrated by Respighi, who was a brilliant Italian orchestrator. And then we're doing some excerpts from the Nutcracker alongside that, his suite. And then we're going a little bit further east or west, I should say, into Eastern Europe, and we're going to do Leos Janáček's Lachian dances, numbers 1 and 2, Opus 2. So it's sort of heading that direction into Europe, and Russia is where we're going. And it's more accessible, more along the lines of what you would expect here in a romantic style setting for this music.
Okay, that's very interesting. Now, you had mentioned while you were talking that part of the process that goes into selecting the music is one of the things that you take into consideration is that you have music majors and then non-music majors. Now, one of the big things Josh and I talk about here on Kutztown Live is students getting involved with like on-campus activities and organizations. Now, how does a non-music major go about being involved in the orchestra?
They just have to email me and I'll snatch them up. No, it's I will say this: we have more and more non-majors who are playing in the orchestra, and most of them have played all throughout high school and middle school, and they play very well, and they add a lot to the ensemble. And so I think, truthfully, a lot of them would feel a void if they weren't continuing on in their music. So I think that's an important thing. I think it's really great that our music majors and non-majors interact and all come together through music. I think that's a fantastic intersection. And then if someone is really serious and they want to join, if they just email me, that's the first step. And then they can take it as a club for non-credit, because we're funded from KUSSI.
Okay.
And generally, admission is open. Most of the students that are interested in orchestra have played in the past, and you really need that experience to be successful in there, so they know that going in, so it's not so much of a shock. But I have had some students come who didn't have a lot of experience, and they've come and sat in and kind of realized that maybe they needed to kind of grow a little bit more on their instrument and then come back, and that's happened too. And I think that's okay as well.
Okay. Now, speaking of music majors, the orchestra, and KUR, we are joined by someone who is all three of those.
Yes.
How are you doing?
I am well. How are you?
I'm wonderful. It's nice to see you, Laura. Now, Laura, you're participating in the upcoming concert.
I am participating in the upcoming concert. For those of you listeners that don't know who I am, my name is Laura. I host a show Wednesday night from 8 to 10, Accidental. It is
Great
called
show.
Self-promo, here we are. But
Good plug.
I have a very wide variety of music tastes because I am a classically trained musician as well as like doing all these other things. So I don't know, I'm all over the place. Anyway, though, I want to host a classical show on KUR, but that's not my point right now. I also am in the orchestra. I'm on the board. I'm doing a million gazillion things, and one of those things happens to be Carnegie Hall on Monday, which is kind of crazy to think about. But yeah, so we have some really great, two of our faculty who are, regular staples of the music scene here and all over the world are, they're kind of the reason that we are doing this, because they were like, hey, come do this thing. And now we're very honored and very grateful to have that opportunity. So that's kind of a cool thing, and it's very cool to play music that's not your standard stuff for a little bit. It's a nice break, and it poses different challenges than it does some of the other music that we end up playing a lot of the time. So a lot of the stuff you'd consider like your standard classical stuff, like
Okay.
Beethoven, Mozart, all of those people, has different issues, like different things that you need to address and work on and stuff like that, because the styles are different. So it's kind of fun. It's an interesting thing.
Oh yeah, I bet it's fun. What instrument are you playing at Carnegie Hall?
I am playing
That's a crazy
the
thing to think
cello.
about.
I'm playing the cello. I play a couple of different instruments, obviously, because I'm a music ed major, so I have to pick up as many as I can in the 4 years that I'm here. But no, cello is my primary, so I will be playing the cello.
Yeah.
Laura's principal cello actually in the orchestra. So she's one of our
Wow.
leaders.
Wow, Laura. Yeah. Looking real good on KUR here.
Yeah.
Wow.
You got to put all this on a resume.
Oh,
But
that's stuff.
yeah. Well, Mr. Isaacson, I actually, as we start to wrap up the interview here, I want you to be, as you mentioned earlier, to get involved with the orchestra. The first step is emailing you. What is your email?
My email is my last name, and I better spell that out. It's isaacson at kutztown.edu.
Isaacson at kutztown.edu. If you would like to get involved in the orchestra. And when is that concert again, and how can students find it?
The concert is on Tuesday, October the 8th at 7:30 p.m., and it's in Schaefer Auditorium. And
It's also super free.
yeah, it is
like
very
Super free.
Extra
Super,
free,
super
you just
free,
walk in.
extra free.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
And if you forget that date, you can always go to the music department homepage, which is the same basic address as Kutztown University, and then you do a /music, and it'll take you to the homepage. At the bottom of the homepage on the right, there's a calendar of all music events.
We also have social media.
True.
We have Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
You run it, don't you?
I absolutely run it. Of course I run it. Yes, but there are posters around campus that have QR codes that can take you right to the Facebook event, and that can give you more information on like directions and how to get here if you're, coming from off campus. are part of like the community of Lions and all of those other places. Like if you're into that, that's an option as well, because it's open to the community and free for everyone. So it's, there are a lot of different ways to find out about us, but yes, Facebook is an easy way because it has all the information in one place.
Yep, Facebook's it's a platform.
Yeah.
I would certainly say that about it.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Isaacson from the Kutztown Orchestra, thank you so much for coming on Kutztown Live this week.
Thank you both. It's been a pleasure as always. I
Yep.
appreciate the opportunity.
It's been great. We hope to have you on the show again to talk about upcoming concerts and just talk about other general stuff about the orchestra. It was great.
All right, I'd be glad to. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you so much, Laura, for coming on. I know you're super busy. And
I try my best. I'm here when I can be.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much. We're actually going to head to a break now. When we return, I have the assistant dean at the College of Business talking about their business idea competition day. You're listening to the radio voice of Kutztown University, KUR. I hope to see you after the break.
Don't you hate it when you listen to those other radio stations with those fancy schmancy corporate weather forecasts?
This is Dr. Joe Hurricane from Super Accurate Weather Incorporated telling you it's going to be clear as a whistle all day. Beautiful weather.
Only to walk out the door and be greeted with this? Guess you should have listened to Monsoon Mike on KUR. Local weather from KUR's own weather expert, Monsoon Mike, every hour. It's right here on the radio voice of Kutztown University, KUR.
This is Betty White. I know you don't need one more thing to worry about, but listen. High blood pressure can cause kidney damage, blindness, heart attack, stroke. And you can have high blood pressure even if you feel all right. 1 in 7 adults has it, but it's easy to get your blood pressure checked, and you can treat it if it is too high. So don't worry about it. Don't ignore it. Just see your doctor and check it out.
For your free booklet, visit the Will Rogers Institute at wrinstitute.org and find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Today might be the day I drop out of school. Today could be the last day I try. My parents alone can't stop me. My friends can't even stop me. But you might be able to. With United Way, you could tutor me, be my mentor, or volunteer to just read with me. If someone had helped me earlier, I might not be struggling. And studies prove that kids who read well by 3rd grade are more likely to graduate. There are tons of ways people like you can help kids like me stay in school. And United Way is calling for you to be one of them. Because it takes 12 years to create a graduate. It takes about the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between me becoming one or the other could be you. Make me a success, not a statistic.
Take the pledge to volunteer now at unitedway.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the radio voice of Kutztown University, KUR. Welcome back to Kutztown Live. I'm your host, Aaron B. And with me right now, I am joined by Dr. Brookins, Assistant Dean at the College of Business. Now, what exactly is your position at the College of Business?
As the Assistant Dean in the College of Business at Kutztown University, I work with the Entrepreneur Leadership Center as the director. I also work as the director for the MBA program and work with students in the Student Success program in the College of Business.
Okay, well, that's great. Could you actually elaborate on the Entrepreneur Leadership Center? Like, what is it that it does?
The Entrepreneur Leadership Center strives to foster and create innovation amongst all students on campus that deals with entrepreneurship, freelancing, and entrepreneurial thinking across the university community. We promote entrepreneurial activity, and we have 2 signature programs that we host. One in the fall semester, which is our business idea competition, and then in the spring semester, we have our Entrepreneur Leadership Week, which we have an array of programs throughout that week.
Well, that's great. Well, the business idea competition I know is coming up in November. So could you tell me a little bit more about that?
Okay. With our business idea competition, many students think that it's straight for just College of Business students, but it's open for all students who have a business idea that they potentially want to grow and to mature to become an actual business. This is taking place November 7th at 5 p.m. in our Learning Center, room 135. But before then, we try to connect our students to resources on campus, specifically like the Small Business Development Center. And within that organization or that center, it's designed to help students to grow their idea to an actual mature business, if that's the potential, the area in which they want to go into.
No, that's great. Now, is that College of Business, like professors that are there helping the students, talking to them about their business ideas?
No, that's actually professionals who work here in the Small Business Development Center on campus. And what's nice about it, it's a resource that is on campus and is open to all students, but they also deal with the community, whether it's in the Reading area or, local Kutztown University, Kutztown area. It's the lead office for the small development centers in Pennsylvania.
That's great. So what exactly can a student get out of this business idea competition? Like, why should, especially a non-College of Business student, go to this?
Okay, so a student who has an idea, they can develop this idea or this project that can impact the story of their life. They don't know how this particular point in time can develop opportunities for later in time. They can also meet and discuss their business idea with entrepreneurs and faculty. One of the things that is nice with this, once their idea is presented, and then they have the opportunity to go into round 2, where they are giving us a pitch of their idea to local entrepreneurs who then can give them firsthand information about their idea and how it can potentially come to be. And they have an opportunity to win a cash prize.
Oh, that's
Nice.
that's great. Yeah, that college students can always use that cash prize.
Absolutely.
Now, how exactly does the competition work? Like, how would a student get that cash prize?
Okay, so our submissions are due on the 17th of October, and the guidelines for the submission can be found on our website. If they just go to Kutztown University and put in business idea competition, they will find the timeline and the rules and the submission guidelines in which they will be able to submit right on our webpage.
Yeah.
Our website can be found if you just Google it and you put in KU Business Idea Competition, and it will come up. There you will find the timeline, the rules, and the guidelines, and be able to submit right on that webpage.
Well, I saw now that the information sessions for the competition have actually passed now. So how could a student get in touch with someone in charge of the competition for help or guidance on it?
We are located in DFRAN 118. The Entrepreneur Leadership Center is in the College of Business. So we facilitate the programs for the Entrepreneur Leadership Center. Our office is DFRAN 118. Feel free to stop by, or you can call us at 610-683-4575, and we'll do our best to help and connect you with resources in developing that idea.
Okay. Fantastic. So how could a student actually get involved specifically with just a College of Business organization? Like, they don't want to just do this competition, like they want to be in an organization in doing what they enjoy.
We have a student club that is the Entrepreneur Leadership Club, and they meet in DFRAN on Thursdays at 11 a.m. But it's a good opportunity for students across campus to be able to share. And what they will find is students have businesses that are in the baby stages from the actual idea, and then they're beginning to develop that idea and become a business. And then you have more experience developed students who are entrepreneurs currently. And I know of a student specifically who funds her way through college on her idea that is now a business.
Oh wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's very cool. So one more time, could you tell me where the business idea competition is and when?
The business idea submissions are due on the 17th of October, and then the actual pitch where you will be presenting your ideas to local entrepreneurs, will be taking place November 7th at 5 p.m. in the Learning Center, room 135.
Now, Dr. Brookins, actually here on Kutztown Live, Josh and I like to end off our segments, especially with a faculty member here at the university. We like to ask them to impart a little bit of their advice on, especially the new students here at Kutztown, because we feel as though this show should be especially a resource for new students. So, any last imparting words of advice?
The first thing I would say is for students to go to every class. It's important that you gain the knowledge that is taught to you in the classroom. Also, make sure that you are learning that information outside of the classroom, so putting in the time necessary to study and be able to understand. And then the third thing I would say is to surround yourself with people who are doing this positive things. It's important to surround yourself with those who are doing well in the classroom and those who are being positive around the Kutztown University community. I want to extend myself as a resource for all of our students. If they need assistance or help in the area of developing their academic success, I am located in DFRAN 118, and I'm here to help and support students, not just College of Business, but all students. I want students to be successful.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Brookins. I really appreciate that. We haven't had someone come on and especially talk about going to class. That's definitely one of the most self-explanatory, important things here, especially about going to any university in general. So thank you so much for the advice. Thank you so much for coming on and talking about the business idea competition and the Entrepreneurial Leadership Center.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you for this time.
Yeah, of course.